I've been in the US for about 8 years. I moved here in April 2011 when I was 11 years old.
Born in the United States, and growing up in the United States, I always had roots to my Asian heritage. It would be seen in like my own family dynamics and education when I socialized. Living in the United States, I found out that like we value independence and freedom. But if I were to compare that with my Asian heritage, that's just not how it works. Right? Asians were expected to, I guess, how should I say this, to succeed no matter what. We do not care about our own freedom. We do not care about our own personalities, our own dreams, any of that. We just want to succeed. We want to have our families be happy with us, right? In America, that's different. We're supposed to be happy for our own selves, right? Or whatever dream that may be, whether it be for family or for our own gains. So I guess that clash is the most noticeable in my situation, at least.
So I was raised in Israel, and in Israel it was just more of one culture, one religion. People were just very similar. You know, we had the same holidays, we had the same beliefs. Like there was, you know, the army system, there was kind of the same educational system. You know, we grew up in an army zone, there was constant wars. We constantly knew that we have to go to the army in the future. Here, I feel like I have more freedom of choice. I feel like I can, if I want to pursue education, I can pursue education. If I want to pursue, you know, just working full-time, I can pursue working full-time. And obviously there's no, I feel a lot safer here because there are no wars constantly happening around me.
I mean, life is different, of course, you know, as for myself, you know, from the refugee camp in Tanzania, you know, life wasn't that easy. It was so difficult, you know, we really need a lot of support, especially in terms of like food, you know, have clean water, and just have a nice place to stay and things like that, you know. But compared to where I am right now, I feel like it's good right here, but it has, you know, it's two sides of it, you know. There's good sides and bad sides of it. So when I speak like education-wise, I feel like there's a good access to education right here, but there's another side of it, and I think that's the side that people should try to focus on more and see how we can make that change.
My family's from Somalia. My mom's from the capital, Mogadishu, and I experience culture shock like when I travel there, and once I'm there for a while and I come back, I experience culture shock once again once I like assimilate back here. And it's crazy. Like the way that people live out there is they live for their people, they live for their community. Like no one acts for themselves because it's considered selfish, and it's a deeply collectivist place. Whereas here, it's the most individualistic place in the world, where if you're not working for yourself and if you're not living for yourself, you're not living at all. People over there, they do not make choices for themselves. They always choose in the name of the community. And here, it's the complete opposite. And just for me, it's hard to toggle between that, like trying to make choices for myself and trying to make choices for the good of my family. And just carrying both those cultures is sometimes extremely conflicting.
You know, I can't talk about other cultures, other religions, but for me personally, I feel like there have been events in the history, such as the Holocaust, that have affected the Jews a lot and affected us greatly. And I feel like in today's society, people forget that. People forget the history. People just want to ignore. People just want to hate on the religion. They want to hate because they don't know the full story. I just wish maybe like in school, just cultures, geography, and religions were taught more in depth, and the situation was seen from both perspectives, not just from one perspective, not just what you read online. I want people to be like more open, knowledgeable about history, so the things happen in the past do not repeat, so we don't have a Holocaust, a second Holocaust, not for the Jews, not for anybody else. Like that's something that should not be repeated ever again, and I would like to see anti-Semitism, you know, not exist anymore.
So I would like to see in the society, you know, try to accept the differences, and when I say differences, I'm talking about people from the outside, the outsiders, those are people that kind of bring changes, and then not just trying to stick on the one thing, try to take a different people, different races, different, backgrounds, and then as you get that, then, you can understand how the world, moves, because then you have different perspectives from different people.
I'm consistently at BSU meetings. I'm always at the Pan-African Commons in Smith. I provide resources sometimes, like I'm the president of the Association of African Students. So I'm definitely always finding new ways to create resources.
So I feel like nowadays, I'm in college and there's a lot of resources available for, especially for like my science major. But when I was younger, like in high school and middle school, there really weren't that many resources for me to utilize. I had some teachers that are very helpful. I had teachers who were like really just knowledgeable about the situation. They were very helpful with my education, but I didn't really feel support from my counselors or from most staff at my school. But nowadays I feel like in college there's a lot more resources just for everybody, not just like for specific cultural groups, specific religion. So I think it's very helpful.
So to answer that question honestly, as a kid, I would always be alone. I felt alone. I didn't mind though because I always had books to read and I always loved the characters that were in the books. But if I guess if I had those couple of social connections with like other people of my age, if I were able to be more empathetic, and if I were to see that ounce of humanity in others as I grew up, or well, particularly earlier when I was growing up, I think I would very much appreciate that, like honestly.
I went through ESL for about a year, but I feel like in ESL it was more covered like the language that you need just to kind of like get by, and I wish it was more extensive and we actually learned more of the knowledge we missed since we weren't here. I wish teachers were just more supportive and understood the situation more instead of just like grading students who weren't born and raised in America. I wish they were more lenient and just like had more support and just explained explain better our mistakes and not just grade us down for it.
I came here as the student, so I think I'm the only one here. So if I would need any support, it would be family support like the one I'm used to back home, because since I came here it's just been me, like going to school, making some critical decisions by myself, because sometimes when I call back home and tell them some challenges I'm facing, they don't really understand, because what goes on here doesn't really, it's not the same way it goes back home. So sometimes the advice they can give doesn't necessarily apply here, So yeah, and also having a family around you, is people that really care about you and want your progress, and and people who can see your mistake from afar, is what I would need. Type person who can be honest with you regardless of, oh, I don't want to offend him because I don't know how he's gonna perceive what I'm gonna say, So I think family are always real with their advice, regardless of what it is, whether good or bad, yeah.
I think that there are so many resources that are currently available to immigrants and refugees that they don't have the means to find. Like they are available to them, but they have not heard about them. So over at ACO, I was working with the girls that I mentor, and a lot of them weren't aware of like financial aid. They weren't aware of scholarships available to like women of color, like minority women. So I think that a lot of assisting that we can do for refugees and immigrants is just creating an awareness and like letting people know the resources available to them.
So I wish that when I came here, I wish there was some kind of way to I didn't speak any English when I came here. I was in 5th grade. I was finishing up 5th grade, and I feel like the transition to America was really hard for me because I couldn't speak at school, I didn't have anybody else who spoke Hebrew. I didn't have, so I felt kind of really alienated in school. So I really wish that, when kids come here, immigrant children come here, I really wish that there was a way for them to feel more comfortable. I wish the school could reach out to somebody who's like who knows multiple languages, and they would be able to assist maybe like with homework or translate it or help so the kids who do move here don't feel so alienated and don't feel so just out of place.
I just hope that other people can get that support, when they need it, and feel that they're not alone and that there are people out there who are just like them.
I just hope everybody who watches this, America's kind of its own kind of little country, and it's kind of very like separated from the rest of the world. And I just really want people to educate themselves on what's happening globally. What's happening between like Israel and Palestine, what's happening in Europe. That tax, the wars, just the governments, just to understand what's happening outside of these borders. I think it's really important. I think it's a great way to understand other cultures, other religions, and not just see, from your perspective, not just like read some hoax online about the situation.
Stop putting conditions on the way that we listen to immigrant refugee stories. Like a lot of the times when we see someone who doesn't speak our language or struggles with our language, or someone from a different place who doesn't act the way we do, we often underestimate their intelligence. Like we don't think they're that smart, and we might push them away because we think we're better than them in some form. I think that when you have a new student in your class from a different background, they're a refugee or maybe a new immigrant, I think it's important to create a cultural competency within the class where you kind of erase ethnocentrism, and you teach the kids that the American way of living isn't the only way. Just because someone acts a different way than you, that doesn't mean that you're better or smarter. Just because someone doesn't speak English doesn't mean they're dumb. And I think that just promoting that within the classroom could make a huge difference.